Hi, I'm Jannelle, and this is the Liquid Arts Network podcast. I'm here with Eric Ratner. He's living in Gwangju right now, but you're originally from New York, is that right?
I am originally from New York, yes. Been living in Gwangju for about 3 years now.
I heard you were a honorary Texan. What does that mean?
The culture shock between New York and Texas is very big. I moved down to Texas for university. Really enjoyed my time there, but then spent time in Dallas before coming here to Korea.
Oh, university. What did you go to school for?
I went to the University of North Texas, originally studied jazz trombone. Was very interesting, had a great experience, but then a year in, realized that wasn't quite my career calling. So ever since then, I've kind of been pursuing music on the side, just enjoyment.
Oh, nice. Okay. And when did you come out here to Korea? Straight after your university?
I worked for a few years in a tech company. Really loved that. I worked in sales, and then kind of just wanted to experience another part of the world before it was too late. You know, the earlier the better. So I came here probably in early 2018. And have really just enjoyed the experience ever since.
Yeah, I heard in the living room, I overheard you talking about an insatiable appetite for traveling. Or did I read that? I can't remember now.
I mean, I imagine we all have that to a certain extent, given that we've chosen to transport our lives over here. It's definitely an eye-opening experience when you can take everything you've known from back home and your upbringing and transfer that into a part of the world that's so foreign for us. So for me, it was mostly about taking myself out of my comfort zone as much as I could.
Okay, and you said, going back, you said taking something from your experience and bringing it over here. Is that right? What would you say you've brought with you here to Korea?
Well, hopefully a winning attitude at all times. I pride myself in that. Just I've always been a sociable person. Always really enjoyed meeting people and networking. And that's something that's been consistent here. Whereas my day job is teaching middle school English, which I love. Outside of work, I've been networking amongst the musical community, amongst the foreigner community, and I've really tried to just ingrain myself into the culture that we have here and get as much out of the opportunities we have presented to us.
Yeah, that musical aspect that you were talking about, do you come from a musical family? Does everyone in your family play an instrument? I know your mother plays the viola.
Viola, right? Yeah. Nice job. I'm impressed by that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. Music is one of those things that I don't think it's quite genetic, but I think also maybe part of it is, as well as, you know, the culture that you're growing up in with music all around. So my mom is a professional viola player. My dad is a professional trumpet player. My sister studied opera in college, actually. So it kind of just runs in my family. I started violin at the age of 4 when the violin was basically the same size as my body. So in terms of just giving me experience performing, developing my ear, it's been really a great advantage that I've had that unfortunately I cannot take any credit for. It was my parents' decision, so thank you, Mom and Dad, for that. But it's definitely been something that's helped me to translate music into the later portions these next portions of my life.
So how many instruments can you play?
Not much. I played trombone, as I mentioned. I stopped violin very early in my life.
Did you?
Yeah. Just wanted to do something a little louder, maybe. I don't know. Maybe 8-year-old Eric was just craving for something more. Really loved trombone, and then went to college, stopped doing that. Soon realized that trombone is not the easiest instrument to keep up when you're living in a small apartment.
Okay.
It's a very short leash that you could get away with when, before your neighbors start hating you. So as much as I would have loved to continue playing and getting better, it wasn't quite the most practical instrument. And that's kind of where guitar came in. I took a few lessons before I came to Korea. I'm definitely not the most competent guitar player at this point, but still improving. And one of the great things about living in Korea is it gives you a lot of free time to pursue passions on the side. So since coming here, I've just devoted hours and hours to getting more comfortable on guitar. So to answer your question, I'd say at this point, I can sing and play guitar, and together that's a valuable skill set. So
nice.
Not complaining.
Oh yeah, that sounds so when you told me about how you got into guitar, you said you only took a few lessons before you got here. So I guess you've only been playing the guitar for 3 years, is that right?
3 years, yeah. 3.5 years. I would say we are blessed to have the gift of YouTube. You can learn a lot of things. And as I mentioned before, having a good ear for music helps, especially in terms of the jazz genre. A lot of them are very standard interchangeable chords that once you can figure out the pattern and how they fit in, you can learn a jazz tune really quickly. So yeah, just kind of using the resources I've had available to me, the luxury of time as well as my prior background have let me learn kind of an accelerated rate.
Tell me about that guitar that your mom found in the basement or the attic?
Yeah.
Where did that end up after you got it restored?
Yeah, well, first off, very respectful research. Well done.
Thank you.
It's a pretty crazy story in that it was gifted from my grandma to my dad, and then it was just been sitting in our basement, and for some reason we just forgot about it. And it's one of those stories you hear about and you say, okay, that'll never happen, until it's actually you and you're like, okay, that did happen. And by that I mean it's a Martin guitar, which is one of the most prized brands in terms of American craftsmanship and American-made instruments, made right around the post-World War II era, so like 1950s. And it had just been sitting in a case in my basement accumulating dust. So while it wasn't in perfect shape when we found it, it also hadn't been weathered and used. So it was in pretty incredible shape for a 70-year-old guitar.
70 years?
Yeah, which is amazing. And guitars like that, the wood, there's so much into it, and they get better if treated properly with age. So we took it out, we repaired it. We had some experts back in New York where I live look at it and, do the proper adjustments as was necessary. And now it plays so gorgeously. So it's pretty great in that when I do return to New York and plan to continue to pursue my musical career, I have not only this beautiful sounding instrument, but an instrument that has such a nice story amongst my family, having been bought by my grandma, given down to my dad, and now to me. So 3 generations of the Ratner family. And now, they say instruments tell a story, and I truly believe that to be the case here. So it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
So is it fair to say your grandmother can play the guitar and your father too, or has it just been passed down?
Definitely not my grandma.
Okay.
My father could play the guitar to a certain extent. Yeah, it's just been passed down. I think I'm just kind of picking up where it's left off.
Speaking of the guitar, you're gonna play for us.
I'll try my best.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're gonna do a Korean cover?
Yeah.
So it's also fair to say you speak Korean.
Don't give me too much credit. I have been consistent about studying since I've been here. As you know, English and Korean are polar opposites. So you can study so hard every day and still feel like you've made no progress. I've definitely learned a lot, but in terms of Korean songs, I found this really beautiful niche of being a foreigner in Korea, and having Korean people hear me play a song that they're familiar with, like a folk song or a pop song in their culture. It's something they don't expect. So when they see someone like me who doesn't look like any of them, just kind of bridging those cultures together and showing a respect for the music that they have. Yeah. That's something that's really been appreciated here.
It goes a long way.
It does go a long way. And I've gotten just so much satisfaction over the investment of time I've spent learning Korean songs.
So what's the first song you're going to do for us?
So the first song is called Munjiga Dea. It's by a singer called Gwang-Suk. He's a very interesting guy. He was prominent in the late 80s, early 90s. He had an unfortunately early death, but he's seen as, the way I see him is kind of like a Bob Dylan figure of Korea. He sings very like folky, real songs that tap into human emotion. Many of his songs were about human suffering in the period after the start of Korean democratization, if I said that word right. It's a hard one. So it's like very real emotions that resonate with Korean people. And I think even after his death, they've been songs that have endured amongst their tastes. So it's, just beautiful melodies, beautiful lyrics.
Nice. Well, whenever you're ready.
바하의 선율에 젖은 날이면 잊었던 기억들이 피어나네요. 바람에 날려간 나의 노래도 휘파람 소리로 돌아오래요. 내 조그만 공간 속에 추억만 쌓이고 가닥 멀은 눈물만이 아른거리네. 작은 가슴 모두 실루서 파도 모자란 당신 먼지가 돼야 날아가야지. 바람에 날아 당신 곁으로. 작은 가슴 모두 실루서 파도 모자란 당신 먼지가 되어 날아가야지. 바람에 날아 당신 곁으로. 뿌르르 뚜루루 뚜루루 뚜루 뚜루루 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 뚜루 뚜루루 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 뚜루 뚜루루 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 뚜루.
That was actually really beautiful. I liked it a lot, and I think my dad would really like it. So you're gonna have to write that down for me.
Okay.
That name.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he's
Hope
gonna
your
add
dad
that to
enjoys
his playlist. I know he is. So actually, I want to go back to your mom for a second and your family. She came to Korea in 2018. Is that right?
That is correct.
Oh, and so have you played any of these songs for her?
Mostly I just send videos back home from time to time.
Oh,
But
yeah.
no, it's kind of this like, mysterious life I'm living here across the world. It's not all known to people back home, but I guess podcasts are a good way to get that out.
Yeah, no jam sesh with your mom and her viola and your guitar?
We played a bit. We have this group in Gwangju called Dreamers, and it's similar to the Liquid Arts Network in that it brings together foreigners and Korean people who are devoted to arts and music. So we were fortunate to have some trips during that summer as my mom was here, where we had some spontaneous jam sessions. And my friend Eden, who's a great violin player, brought her violin. My mom, being the adaptable musician she is, played some tunes, and we were able to play together. So that was a pretty unique experience.
Oh, that sounds really cute.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really nice time.
Yeah, it was great.
You mentioned actually about musical events that you hosted in Gwangju pre-COVID. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Of course. So I started an event called Live at Loft. It's basically a monthly music event that we have at a bar in a prominent area in Gwangju called Loft 28. Loft 28 is owned by one of my best friends in Gwangju. His name is Craig, just an amazing guy with a great story. He was born in Jamaica and then spent his life growing up in Toronto. So he has a strange mixture of cultures, of Jamaican culture, Canadian culture, and now naturally lives here in Korea, right? So he has, it's a Jamaican-inspired bar and lounge back in Gwangju, which is an amazing place, very intimate environment. And something that's just struck me about him and the bar in general since I've been here is their commitment towards music. Always just trying to put on the next great event and investing in their sound equipment to make sure the artists have the best experience. So naturally, when I wanted to start an event, that was where I went. And we have some open mics in Gwangju that have been there for a while. They've really been great to help me get a springboard off, my performing career here in Korea. But where we are different is that it's a set lineup. So rather than an open mic where anyone can come and play, I hand select a few musicians of diverse genres, Korean people, foreign people, and we put on usually a lineup of about 4 performers. And then after the set performance, we have an open mic. So it's usually like, the cherry on top. And then this year, what's been one of the most gratifying things is we've been tying each month's event into a charity. So we kind of crowdsource them. It's mostly amongst my friends. If anyone has a charity or cause they feel passionate about, we will rally behind them. We will push out the message of that charity and try to raise as much as we can. And we've been raising between about 300 and 500,000 won, 300, 500 US dollars equivalent each time, which for a night out when people are, drinking, having a good time, it's definitely a significant amount. So it's been really probably my most proud accomplishment that I've had since I've been here in Korea.
Is there a particular cause or fundraiser that you want to give a shout out to right now for the listeners?
Not in particular. I mean, that's a hard question. I wish I had thought about it more. We've supported everything from a dog shelter, an animal shelter, to an organization in Seoul that supports North Korean refugees that provides them with English tutoring and counseling service.
I believe it's called Teach.
North Korean refugees.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's been all over the place. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but we're I think what's great is we're not categorized into one certain lane. We're open to all types of things as long as the cause is beneficial.
Well, Teach North Korean refugees is a good one. I actually applied to be one of their English tutors, and also I applied for another small gig pre-COVID, and I was definitely interested. Unfortunately, COVID happened and I was unable to start, but I've heard about them and they do a lot of really good work. And you talked about a dog shelter that you also did. So those are 2 good shout outs right there. That's pretty all right.
Yeah. And one of the other great things, there's an orphanage in Gwangju of children that are living there, and they are close to the owners of Loft 28. So we've had a few events that have supported their orphanage. And along with that, they have a band that they created. This is pre-COVID that they came out. Unfortunately, it's kind of been at a halt lately. But it's these kids ranging probably in ages from about 8 to 16 or so. So, elementary school through high school. They started this band, and through our event, we gave them their first performance opportunities in public.
Wow.
Which these poor kids, how incredible is that to go in front of a group of foreigners at a bar, people that they don't speak the same language as you've never performed. And it was really cool to see how nervous they were at the beginning, but how everyone in attendance was so supportive and so into it that by the end, they were just having the time of their lives. And they actually came back and performed once again at a later event. And you could see the difference between them when they first got there that first time and then the second time they came, where they just were in their element. So we financially supported them, but I think in terms of, money is money. Money can buy things. I'm sure it can help their orphanage there.
Yeah.
But if even one of these kids goes on to perform throughout their lives and has more experiences in music, and this kind of helped them to get a start, I think that's the most lasting benefit from this sort of thing.
It sounds very transformative.
Yeah,
and I can see why you would get a lot of pride and out of that and accomplishment.
Yeah,
and we'll go ahead and do is just put the links at the bottom in the description of the podcast.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. And so we got another song coming up. Are you gonna do another Korean cover?
Why don't we mix it up? Do an English one.
Oh, sounds good to me. What you got for us?
Do we want a slower one? Okay, we'll do Alicia Keys' "Fallen."
Oh,
It's a
I love
classic.
Alicia.
Good. Very good. Very timely then. Alicia's my girl. She's from New York. Great music. So what can be wrong?
Whenever you're ready.
I keep on falling in and out of love with you. Sometimes I love you, sometimes you make me feel blue. Sometimes I feel good, at times I feel used. Loving you, darling, makes me so confused. I keep on falling in and out of love with you, and I never love someone the way that I love you. I never felt this way. How do you give me so much pleasure and cause me so much pain? Just when I think I've taken more than would a fool, I come a falling back in love with you. I keep on falling in and out of love with you, and I never love someone the way that I love you. I keep on falling in and out of love with you, and I never love someone the way that I love you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I love listening to Alicia. I just went to karaoke with my boyfriend last night and sung Diary.
Nice.
That's why I brought it up to you before we started. And I was like, do you know that song? I really want to hear it
hopefully you'll have me
professionally
back
done.
on, and I'll play it next time.
Yes, I think that was a duet that she did with Tony.
Ooh,
And they were a really great R&B group, I believe, in the 90s.
nice.
Yeah, but I only know these things because I have really old parents, and that's all I listen to, and they made me clean on Saturdays, stuff like that. But you're from New York, right? And you're leaving soon to go back to New York, straight back to New York?
Yeah, I mean, the world is very uncertain now, as we know. My long-term goal is to get a job back in the tech industry. I was working for a tech company in Texas in a sales role and really just enjoyed that and loved it. So I plan to do that eventually. I'd like to travel and see some more of Asia, depending on what's open while I have the luxury of free time. So we'll kind of play it by ear and see what happens.
So what's next is playing it by ear?
Playing it by ear.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Yep.
And before you leave us today, you are gonna do one more.
Yeah.
One more song?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want a Korean song?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I would love a Korean song.
Okay. Perfect.
And give us a little history, too. I liked that last lesson that you gave us.
Okay. You're giving me too much credit. Okay, so this song is a song that's popular in the spring. It's called Cherry Blossom Ending. It's actually one of the highest selling Korean singles of all time. And it's a song super happy, but literally just about walking with someone you love beneath cherry blossoms. And for anyone that doesn't live here in Korea, it's one of the defining aspects that we have around May, when they're just cherry blossoms everywhere. It's beautiful. It just brings that happiness to you. It just makes you feel good. So although it's not quite timely, it's not cherry blossom season, I feel like we all could use a cheery song. It's just a gorgeous melody, and hope you enjoy it. 그대야 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 오늘은 우리 같이 걸어요 이 거리를 밤에 들려오는 저녁 노래 어떤가요? Oh yeah 몰랐던 그대와 단둘이 손잡고 알 수 없는 이 떨림과 둘이 걸어요 봄바람 휘날리며 흩날리는 벚꽃잎이 우려 퍼질 이 거리로 둘이 걸어요 봄바람 휘날리며 흩날리는 벚꽃잎이 우려 퍼질 이 거리로 둘이 걸어요 그대여 우리 이제 손잡아요 이 거리에 마침 들려오는 저런 노래 어떤가요? Oh yeah 사랑하는 그대와 단둘이 손잡고 알 수 없는 이 거리를 둘이 걸어요 봄바람 휘날리며 흩날리는 벚꽃잎이 우려 퍼질 이 거리로 둘이 걸어요 봄바람 휘날리며 흩날리는 벚꽃잎이 우려 퍼질 이 거리로 둘이 걸어요 바람 불면 우렁 있는 기분 탓에 나도 모르게 바람 불면 저편에서 그대여 네 모습이 자꾸 겹쳐 또 우렁 있는 기분 탓에 나도 모르게 바람 불면 저편에서 그대여 네 모습이 자꾸 겹쳐 사랑하는 연인들이 많군요 알 수 없는 친구들이 많아요 흩날리는 벚꽃잎이 많군요 좋아요 봄바람 휘날리며 흩날리는 벚꽃잎이 울려 퍼질 이 거리로 둘이 걸어요 봄바람 휘날리며 흩날리는 벚꽃잎이 울려 퍼질 이 거리로 둘이 걸어요 그대야 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 그대야
You know what? I can't think of a better song to end on. Thank you so much, and good luck to you on your next adventure and that music career.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure meeting you and talking to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.